We found the young princess, as you can see, Madame Xongile, sitting up on the dam wall. And then we've also got her beautiful brother, Hosana, sitting at his absolute favorite pan to fish for terrapins. Look at him, there he is down there. But no sight of Karula, so perhaps she has gone off in search of something to eat for her young children. Isn't this wonderful? I think we need to change the name of this pan, or at least give this pan a name. I don't think it should be Twin Dams anymore. This one should be Hosana's pan, seen as though it's his favorite spot. He absolutely loves it. But he's not fishing, of course, at the moment. He is just taking a breather, probably enjoying the nice cool weather that has come about after the hot day we have had. But it looks as though something has caught Xongile's attention, because she's now sitting up. No, as I say that, she's sitting back down again. And I suspect it was the Egyptian geese that are just on the other side of the pan that she was probably having a look at, but they moved away. And I think she decided that, well, it was probably going to be a bit too much effort for her to head all the way around. But I'm so happy that we managed to find them. I was worried that they were crossed out of our traverse this morning, that we weren't going to see them again for a couple of days. But isn't this a nice surprise? Now, of course, as most of you know, we are on a live safari at the moment. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you're more than welcome to send your questions through, or any comments that you have. You can either hashtag Safari Live for Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@WildEarthTV. Now, every time the hardy-dar sort of lets out a wail, Xongile always turns her head and looks around, and I suspect that the hardy-dar is probably one of the hardy-dars that were, well, either the male or female, that we saw those chicks, because we're not far from them, but we know that they have fledged. Well, we hope that they have fledged. Or like Brent said, possibly the young Hosana had climbed up the tree and plucked them straight from the nest, and that would be a very tasty meal for him. Hello, big boy. Every time I see him, he looks like he's just getting bigger and bigger. And he definitely dwarfs young Xongile. I think he's going to grow up to be a beautiful boy in the next few years, and it's one of my favorite things, is to be able to sit and to watch them grow right from a cub. And I don't actually think we realize how lucky we are to see that interaction of her mom mating with the various male leopards, and then of course seeing the lactation marks and knowing that she was pregnant, to of course the arrival of the young prince and princess. This is amazing, and we'll be able to follow their story for as long as they live. I can't believe the weather. It's completely changed. It's now so peaceful. The wind has completely died down. There we go. Xongile is on the move now. She's up, she's down. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She's just checking on her brother to make sure that he's keeping out of trouble. That hardy-dar is really funny. Just giving a shout every now and then. Hello, girl. Now, I wonder if young Xongile is as keen of a fisher lady as her brother is, because I haven't really seen her down playing around in the pans before. It always just seems to be Hosana. Hello, girl. She's watching all the vehicles as they're driving past, because we're quite close to the cut line. We're not far. And she's finding that very entertaining at the moment. No, and she's flopped back down again. And you can see they're slowly starting to separate from each other. Obviously, when there's a meal around, they start to munch on it together. However, I think young Hosana is slowly starting to gain his independence. We see that almost every single time he's fishing. He's always hard at work, whereas young Xongile, if she can, seems to stick by mom's side. But we're definitely not going to go anywhere. We're going to sit with them for a little bit longer. But let's jump across into the tent with Brent and Herbie. Have a look at young Xongile. She's decided to come down the bank wall now. But as you can see, often we try and rehabilitate areas that are heavily disturbed. So we have brush packed this area to try and stimulate growth and also prevent any herbivores from grazing on the grass that will eventually, of course, grow up on the side of this bank. But she's found it quite an obstacle as she tries to navigate through all the thorn trees, which is normally used, like I said, to try and keep them, keep the herbivores away. That's why we use the thorns. But that didn't stop her. It wasn't too much of a challenge, and she's going towards her lovely brother. So hopefully, just going to let her get ahead just a little bit, even though we know she's so relaxed with the vehicle. Oh, hang on, I'm going to reposition, because it looks like Hosana is going to maybe stalk his sister. Let's see what happens. Hello, Gil. Right, there we go. Now that's a nice view. At one point, Hosana was trying to lie as flat as he could in the grass, and I thought that he was going to get up and chase. There we go. Look how much bigger he is. Hello, sister. I'm just going to sit on your face now, and I'm much bigger and stronger than you, so you're not going to be able to do anything. Look at him. He's genuinely double the size of her. That is just absolutely incredible. I'm going to go forward again. The reason why I'm going to do this is it's just another vehicle, of course, coming up behind me. So we'll just get a nice spot over here, and then everybody can have a good view. There we go. Well, we can all see them. Two little peas in a pod. And it is so nice to be able to watch this interaction that they have between the two of them. But like I said, eventually it's going to start to wear thin. They're going to go off and go their separate ways. And it will almost be like they never knew each other when they get older. It looks like Hosana's got lipstick on. I don't know if he stuck his nose in the mud, perhaps. It's a bit difficult to see. Here we go. It does, doesn't it? Looks like he has stuck his face in the mud. You can see a little bit of... And that's probably when he was trying to maybe catch a terrapin, or maybe there's a little catfish or something along those lines, maybe even a tilapia in this little pool of water. Oh, big yawn. But even though he's double the size of his sister, he's still got his little teeth. They haven't quite, well, they're not nowhere near the size of course, Karula's teeth. Now, you can see every time the vehicles move, they do watch. And that's why it's important when you do have young cubs like this, that you do give them a bit of room, even though they are very relaxed. And you try and just move the vehicle, one vehicle at a time. It is so important, and everybody has done an absolute sterling job. And I think I was talking about this the other day. And if we weren't practicing good guiding techniques, they wouldn't have been this relaxed. They probably would have got up and run away from us. Look at his nose. His face is covered in mud. Now, there's obviously been a lot of chatter about who is going to be taking over Karula's territory once she passes on. And Bree, you were wondering exactly that, which leopardess will maybe take her spot. It will be interesting. It will most likely be somebody like Shadow or Tundi, Oh, look at this big leap. Wow, there we go. Not afraid to jump over the water. Something must have caught her attention. So Bree, basically, Tundi and Shadow's territories are on either side of Karula's. So as soon as the spot opens up, and of course young Xongile is going to be too young to be able to take Karula's spot, but she'll have a small portion of her territory, most likely. So it will just mean that either Shadow, Tundi, maybe a new leopard comes into this area, maybe another leopardess comes through and finds that there is an open spot if Karula has passed on, and they will, well, if they're mature enough and strong enough to fight Tundi and Shadow for it, they'll definitely take it for themselves. And of course, well, then Xongile will have to be very careful because she will be quite young and she probably won't have too much experience. And she might even have to move her territory away a little bit. And she's just having a drink. Maybe she's also going to have a mud-covered face like her brother after she's done with this drink. Now, I was saying just a moment ago that these two are going to go their separate ways at some point. And Kimmy, you're wondering that if perhaps in about 4 years' time, Xongile and Hosana were to meet up again, would they know they were related or would they fight? Kimmy, you know what might even happen? You might find that it will be very unlikely that the two of these meet up because Hosana will be pushed well out of this area. He might go further north into the Manuleti. He might go further south to the southern sand. Maybe he even goes far east and moves into the Kruger National Park. But there are too many big male leopards around here. You've got Mvula, you've got Tingana, you've got the Anderson male, you've got Quarantine, and you've got, well, like Quarantine, you've got a lot of young up-and-coming leopards that have already reached 4 years old, and they'll probably be in the prime of their life by the time they reach 4 years. But in the odd case that they do meet up, you might find that Hosana may even show some interest in Xongile and possibly try and mate with her. It's not uncommon for anything really out here in nature to sort of mate with their siblings down a couple of years down the line. And of course, inbreeding is natural. Let's see if he does a big jump over this water. Try and get a screenshot of this, because that would be really, really special. There we go. Whee! Not as impressive as his sister's jump. We'll see what they get up to. Look at how beautiful they are. They're just looking more and more adult-like. Looks like Xongile is actually stalking Hosana now. Look at Xongile. See how she's starting to stalk? She's gone into that slinky position, moving very slowly, and she's going to probably burst out of the bushes at her unsuspecting brother. And this is good practice. We know this. We watch it with the lions all the time, how they jump on each other and play with each other. And this is very good practice to eventually one day be able to take down something like a steenbok or an impala. Now, Lindsay, you're wondering if two leopardesses were to meet and sort of clash with their territories, would it end in a big fight? Yes, it will. Females can be quite feisty, and they're also just as territorial as the males. So if they do pick up on the scent on another female leopard, they'll try and track them down and chase them well away. I've seen a leopard fight before between two females. It's interesting. I didn't expect it to be as aggressive, but sure, the claws came out and, well, there was no hesitation at swiping at each other. Now, I hope they don't go too far south because, like I said, we're right at the boundary and it seems as though they're edging towards Gowrie, Maine. Just see where they're going to go. What we will try... bursting through the bushes, playing with each other. This is so nice. I don't think I've actually seen the two of them play around too much. Every time I have spotted them, they've either been sleeping or they've been eating, or it's either just been one or the other on their own. So it's really, really nice for me to finally see this lovely leopard interaction between a sister and brother. Now, I'm so glad that you're all sending in the most incredible screenshots. Thank you for all that. We love to see all your pictures. And like I always say, and I've said it a number of times, keep an album, because these cats grow up so quickly, and before you know it, they'll be adults just like their mother, just like their father, and you probably won't even remember when they were little tiny tots. I think what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and reposition so that we can get a better view, because at the moment, well, they're doing what the camouflage is supposed to do, and they're being hidden very well. So we'll quickly just zoom in front. Right, we're going to shoot back across to Evia very quickly and see how his afternoon is going. Herbie, I'm so happy to know that you've managed to see your favorite cats. I don't think it's very often that you get to see them out and about, always being on foot. Normally Herbie is just seeing their footprints on the ground. And I'm sure he's probably quite shocked to see how big they are getting. I just can't believe how quickly these animals really do grow. It's so impressive. And young Hosana, he's really a good-looking leopard. He is a lovely cat, but his sister seems to have disappeared somewhere. I think she could have already actually crossed off of the boundary, and I think she could have already disappeared. So we're going to try and stick for Mr. Hosana, or stick with him as long as we can. But for the moment, Xongile has given us the slipperoo. And maybe they're making their way back to where they were left with their mother early this morning. You see, as they're getting older, like I said, and I keep saying, they're starting to gain their own independence. So they could have just been left, and then, of course, well, they got a bit curious and they decided that, no, we're going to go back to our favorite pan and have a play around there for most of the day. And they, oh, I can listen to the guinea fowl alarming. So that is them shouting definitely at Xongile. She's already crossed out of our traverse. It sounds a little bit like Evia, doesn't it? Remember yesterday he did the most amazing impression of a guinea fowl alarm call. And you can see Hosana is now very, very interested in what's going on. And I wonder if he's going to be tempted by those guinea fowl alarms, or if he's going to stick to his guns, because he seems to be very much acquainted with his favorite pond with all the terrapins in it. Although I wonder if he hasn't maybe fished all the terrapins out. He might have to go and look elsewhere for a snack. Oh, those guinea fowl are so unhappy. So Xongile must be moving through the bushes, because those alarm calls now sound like they're getting further and further away. And this guinea fowl will shout and shout. They might even fly up to the top of a tree. We'll just keep a close eye on her, of course, so she doesn't try and sneak up to them and snatch one of those, because that would make a tasty meal. Now, Gina, you were wondering, earlier I was talking about their teeth. And I'd mentioned that their teeth aren't quite as big as their mother's teeth just yet. And you're wondering when they get their adult teeth. So they've lost their milk teeth already. Oh, here we go. Here goes Hosana. He can't wait any longer. So, and I think it was actually Xongile that we saw. I think it was with Jamie where she did a big yawn. And we noticed sort of double teeth. I don't think I'm mistaking that. I don't think I dreamt that. I think that actually happened. And we could see that her milk teeth were falling out and she started getting her adult teeth. So they arrived. And now, well, they've just got to grow until they're big and strong. So I reckon when they get to about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, their teeth will be close on the size of an adult's. We'll see if we can get one last view of him, but I don't want to overcrowd this area because there's quite a few vehicles sitting on the boundary. So we're just going to keep a distance. We're very lucky. We've got these wonderful cameras with these massive zooms, because there's already two vehicles there. Oh no, hang on, someone's leaving. Maybe we can go in a little bit closer and have a look. And we'll catch Hosana just before he disappears across the boundary. Just quickly pick up the pace around the corner. Where are you going? Oh, look, there's a leopard tortoise. Look right in front of Hosana. Can you see that big leopard tortoise there? It's tucked right into its shell. You are very lucky, tortoise. I don't think that Hosana knows you are there. Oh my goodness. 2 leopards in one sighting, but of course one's a reptile and one's an actual leopard. Very, very, very lucky, that leopard tortoise, because that would have made an amazing toy, of course, for these 2 cats. I'm just going to pull off the road because Aubrey's coming into the sighting and I know that he'll want to have a look before they disappear. So I'm going to pull right away. Like I said, we're going to keep our distance now because there's actually too many vehicles here and we don't need to overcrowd this young boy. But luckily they're at the age now, like I said, they're not scared of the vehicles anymore. You are the luckiest leopard tortoise I've ever seen in my entire life. It's still hiding away. I think it must have had a fright from Xongile going past first, because it's not coming out just yet. Oh, and we're going to lose Hosana now. He's just about to cross the road in front of Ephraim's vehicle. Bye-bye, young man, but at least we got to see them for a moment. Well, not for a moment. We spent quite a bit of time with them. Wasn't that absolutely lucky? Just being at the right place at the right time. And we know that this is their favorite, of course, spot here at this pan. So I think over the next few weeks is going to be a good idea just to keep checking it. Just to, by some chance, if we're lucky, to have a look at them. But that's the end of that, and I hope you enjoyed that. We are off to go and find you, hopefully, something else. The rain is starting to come down now, so we're going to go all the way back across to, well, Brent in his cozy tent.